Hey, my name is Mills, and first of all, Merry Christmas. I'm filming this on Christmas for you. I make videos about life in the Dominican Republic and just kind of stuff in general, but mostly about expat life in the DR. And a lot of people have asked about cost of living, so finally I'm making the video today about general cost of living for not just Dominican Republic, but specifically Santiago de los Caballeros, where I live. It's the second biggest city in the DR. So in the DR, there's a ton of varying prices depending on what city or town you're in. Of course, in the Campo, like more and more into the countryside, they're cheaper. And then really tourist areas, of course, are more expensive. So I wanted to focus on where I'm currently living in Santiago to kind of help give you an idea of what an average kind of city cost would be. You watched my last video, you know that I'm in Scottsdale visiting my family. It is like 62 degrees right now, but I'm freezing. I have a blanket because now I'm used to that Dominican Republic weather. I tried to pick as many like categories as I could think of that might be relevant to you. So hopefully I hit on like at least the basics, and if you have any questions about things that I might have missed, feel free to comment below and I can let you know what the average cost of that is. And before I get started, if you can take a second to subscribe, just hit the button, that would be amazing and I would really appreciate that. So first, I want to mention that if you're planning to move to the Dominican Republic, you cannot work legally. So if you don't have residency, then you're not going to be able to get a lot of jobs. So that's a little bit of a struggle. I taught for a year in Jarabacoa, which is like an hour in the mountains outside of Santiago. And I don't have residency, but for some reason we didn't need it. I don't know. Before you're planning like a move, think about how your jobs are going to be very limited if you don't have residency or a special visa. But if you have an income, or you work online, or you have income from the US or somewhere else, then you should be fine to just move there and go on a traveler's visa, which lasts for 30 days, but you can overstay that. And if you do overstay, you have to pay at the airport. So for example, I left the country to visit Boston in August, and then the next time that I left the country was December this month. So that was 4 months that I was in the DR, and my overstay fee was 4,000 pesos. The Dominican peso to dollar right now exchange rate is about 50 pesos per $1 US. So I paid like 82 US dollars for my overstay fee. I had an apartment for a 7-month lease in Santiago, and it cost me 400 US dollars a month. A lot of people said it's expensive. I know that. I was in a really good area. It was completely furnished. It was really big. So that's why. But in terms of average rent for Santiago, you can expect to pay 15,000 to 20,000 pesos depending on your location. So if you're more in the center of the city or a really safe, pretty popular area, you might be paying more. If it's furnished, you're going to pay more. And of course, the bigger the apartment or house, the more you'll pay. I would say that you'll probably rent an apartment over a house to start if it's just you. If it's a family, there are a lot of houses for rent as well. And I've seen them for like 20,000 pesos, which is $400. And they're really big and really nice. You can also find apartments for 7,000 to 10,000 pesos a little bit farther out of the city and not as nice, not in as good of areas, probably not furnished, maybe a little bit smaller, but you can definitely find a really nice, like a good apartment for 10,000 pesos. You just might not be in like the prime location, I would say, or you won't have a furnished apartment with the ability to do a short-term lease and little things like that. Now, if you want in a building with like a pool and a gym and a security guard and all of that, then you're going to pay more. To put it in perspective, in Jarabacoa, the small town, I paid 3,500 pesos per month. So that was way cheaper. It was only like 70 US dollars. In terms of utilities, so I had one air conditioning in my bedroom, just like a wall unit, and I like didn't really put it on ever. I would probably use it like 5 to 8 nights per month and never during the day. So I had that. I had a couple fans, lights, obviously, the refrigerator, and my utility bill was about 1,300 pesos per month. So I never really spent over $30 on electricity, but I did not use a lot. I don't cook like a ton of stuff on the stove, and never really used the TV that was in there. So my electricity was low. It goes as low as like 900 pesos a month, but I would say that's not average. I would put like 2,000 pesos aside for electricity. My boyfriend's electricity is like 8,000 pesos per month because he runs his air conditioning all the time, and they have the TV on more lights, more people, so more cooking. That makes sense. To have someone come clean your apartment, it would probably be about 500 pesos per day. That's like an average appropriate payment, like $10 for the day for a deep clean. And it will range how long they stay, but that seems to be what most people pay. And most people pay like on a monthly basis because they have like one housekeeper who comes once a week and they pay them per month. But just know if you're going to keep them the whole day, I think that you do have to provide lunch if you're not like letting them leave for lunch and come back. And some cleaning ladies or men, they cook and do laundry as well, but I'm just talking about basic cleaning of the apartment or house. Home internet is about 1,000 pesos to 2,500 pesos per month. And it definitely ranges, of course, on the speed of your internet. So I had Altice, which is not as good as Claro. I would recommend Claro, and that's definitely the most popular one in the country. My internet was like not even 10 megabytes. It was so slow. So if you're working online or anything, I would definitely recommend upgrading. So I would not expect to pay more than like $75 per month for very high speed internet, and like $25 to $30 a month for just like a normal package. My hair is a mess as usual. I always said like, oh, when I'm in Arizona there's no humidity and my hair looks better. I don't try. And most internets, or at least my package, included the TV and phone. So if you have like a house phone, it's not very expensive. But again, if you work online and you need really fast speeds, then you need to look into something a little bit more expensive and reliable, because the power does go out sometimes. Not as much in Santiago. For a cell phone, get your cell phone in the States or wherever you live before you move to the DR, because they're really expensive there. I would not buy like an iPhone in the DR because they're just not as accessible, so the prices obviously go higher. I have an iPhone X, and my plan with Sprint, I have unlimited data internationally. I had to kind of like make this switch, so it was like some phone calls back and forth, but it's not too hard to change your plan to that. I get unlimited data, but it's only at like 2 megabytes or something. It's really, really slow. But you know, it works. And I get unlimited texting, and the data is unlimited too, so that was really important. And calls are 20 cents per minute, so I don't do that. I do Skype calls, FaceTime audio calls, which is data, not, I don't know, you don't have to pay for that, or just regular FaceTime. I would recommend, if you are going to bring a phone and use like a Claro or Altice plan from the DR, have it unlocked before you come, just to make things easy. And you just want to do like super basics, you can put your phone on airplane mode and just turn it on to the Wi-Fi if you're at like a bar or home or something, because everywhere usually has Wi-Fi, like restaurants, cafes, so it's really easy to find Wi-Fi when you're out. If you want to have like a mobile hotspot, one of those little like device things, like packs, that's usually like $30 to buy the hotspot, and then you can just like carry that around with you, and it costs like 150 pesos for unlimited data for 5 days. So I would expect to pay like $20 per month for unlimited WhatsApp and social media usage, and I've seen a lot of people with that mobile hotspot. So cars, so expensive. Don't like think you're gonna come to the Dominican Republic and just like get any old car and it's really cheap. Cars do not depreciate the way that they do in the US, and I wish that they did sometimes, because when I was buying one, it was so frustrating. I bought my 1998 Honda Passport, which like no one even knows what that is, and I spent $3,400, and it's not worth that. Obviously, it's so old, and I would get it way cheaper in the States, but it's better for me now when I'm selling it that I can kind of like get that money back, hopefully. I got new tires, and that was about 9,000 pesos, and they weren't even like new, they were used for like a year, which that's dangerous, but a lot of people do that. So you might have to make a lot of changes to the cars that you're getting, but labor is not expensive at all if you're paying for repairs. If you don't need a car for your family or something, if you're not traveling around the country a lot, then you can just get Uber. In Santiago, they have Uber. It's easy. There's a little bit of problems with drivers like canceling sometimes, or like not ending the ride right when you get out, but overall it's been super easy. They come pretty quickly, and it's cheap. It's like under 100 pesos per ride for like an average distance. I have never paid like over 150 pesos for an Uber ride. There's also taxis. Those are like 150 pesos to 200 pesos more or less, but you have to call them, of course. So I think it's just easier to do an Uber, and it's linked to my card, so you know that they're not like, they can't change the price. So if you do get in an Uber and they're like, oh, my phone card thing doesn't work, it's not reading it, so you need to pay in cash, they're probably trying to charge you more. Another great way to get around the country is public cars. Those are like 20 pesos to go kind of through the city, and you can just hop in. It's like a clown car. They just like pile everyone into the little car, and you can get off like as it goes through the city wherever you want. So it's really cheap. A lot of people do that to get like to and from work. You can also do a guagua, which is like 30 pesos, and obviously more when you're going farther away. For example, a guagua from Santiago to Jarabacoa, well, you go to La Vega and then get another one to Jarabacoa. That's like 200 pesos total for both of those, so 100 each. It's really cheap, like $2. They also have Caribe Tours, which is a really big tour bus, and they play movies and everything. Pro tip, they're freezing all the time, so bring a jacket, but they're cheap. It costs like $3 to $7 depending where you're going, whether you want to go to the capital or to Puerto Plata, to the beach, but they're really affordable and pretty easy, and always on time, which is really nice. To get your car cleaned, it's like 200 pesos, and gas is about $4 a gallon, so it's super expensive, and just take that in mind if you like want to buy your own car. Definitely gas is expensive. All right, let's talk about food, because that's more fun. Things like McDonald's, it's about 350 pesos per meal. If you are like two people and you're going like all out, 2 meals, and I don't know, if getting like a dessert or something, it could be like 1,000 pesos or like $20. So it's kind of expensive. I feel like it's more expensive than in the States. Pizza Hut is like 700 to 1,200 pesos depending on the size of the pizza you're getting and the toppings. So pizza is actually pretty expensive in the DR, and it's not something that people eat like all the time usually. Pica Pollo, like a fast food type restaurant where they just do like a meal of the day, like chicken, beans, and rice or something like that. It's usually 100 to 150 pesos sometimes in Santiago, but it's really cheap. And Pica Pollo, like that type of food, usually has like a big serving, so you could even save it, like eat half and save it for the next day or for dinner. A restaurant for like 2 people, a nice-ish restaurant, is like 1,300 to 2,000 pesos, and it can be way more. It could be like 8,000 pesos if you're at like a really fancy place, but I do not go to places like that because I don't want to spend that much money for food. Something to note with restaurants is there is a 10% service fee, and that's not a tip. That's like distributed amongst the kitchen staff mostly, I believe. It's supposed to be. And then IBIS, which is 18%. So when you're going out to eat, be prepared that you're going to get taxed like 28%, and that's not a tip. So sometimes you can avoid, that's the word, the 10% service fee if you're paying in cash, but that 18% is always on the check. It's usually included in the price when you see like fast food, for example, but it's not usually included if you go to like a sit-down restaurant. So you need to add that tax on in your head if you see like the price per meal. If you want like a cappuccino at a cafe or something, that's usually like 60 to 80 pesos. A smoothie is like 80 to 160 pesos, depending on what kind of smoothie you're getting and what kind of place you're at. Water, like a water bottle, is 10 pesos in the colmados to like 50, 60 pesos. I've seen it at nicer restaurants. So reminder, you can't drink tap water. So if you're going to a restaurant and you want water, you always have to pay for it. Beer is like 90 pesos per pint, I think. Hi, here's my dog. I don't drink, so I do save a lot of money on like beer, wine, vodka, drinks, and they're not very expensive, but I guess that adds up. Definitely cheaper than like fancy IPAs here, so you can definitely like go to the Colmado and get a bunch of Presidentes and you'll be set. Movies are like 300-ish pesos at Plaza Internacional. And the nicer movie theater where you can get VIP tickets and the seats recline and they like can come take your order at your seat is like 450 pesos, and it's worth it. Right, back to food. For groceries, a dozen eggs is about 75 pesos. 1 pound of chicken breast, boneless, is about 124 pesos. Bread is like 50 to 70 pesos for the loaf or the fresh baked bread, which is so good. 2 pounds of potatoes are like 60 pesos, as well as apples are like the same. A 2 liter of soda is like 60 pesos as well. A gallon of milk is like 210 pesos. 2.5 pounds of ribs are about 450 pesos. So prices of food really vary. If you want things that are local, you eat cheaper. If you're just going to make like chicken, beans, and rice, you can eat cheaply. But if you want any variety, it is actually pretty expensive for food. For example, if you want peanut butter, like bring it with you from the States because it's very expensive in the DR, as well as, of course, any other imported food like American cereals or granola bars, anything, Pop-Tarts, stuff like that. Sometimes you crave it, so it's fine. But for example, I have to drink almond milk, and that's pretty expensive. That it's not expensive, but you know, it's more expensive there than it is in the States. So food is not super cheap. If you want to go shopping, jeans are expensive. Do not buy them in the Dominican Republic. They're so expensive and they're not good quality unless they're imported, and then they're even more. So they're like $40 to $50 per pair from what I've seen typically for like brands that I know, and I don't think I've ever bought a pair of jeans there. Nikes or like nice sneakers, like brand name sneakers, are like 3,500 pesos. They're expensive. They're expensive here too. Oh, I broke that. And the good thing is if the clothes don't fit you very well there, seamstress is super cheap. So I pay like 25 to 50 pesos per piece of clothing. So I just went and got 7 things altered, like way altered. Jeans completely like taken in and cut up and shortened, and they were $7 for 7 pieces, and that was really cheap. A woman's haircut is about 1,000 pesos, $20, but that's in a nice salon, and that's for like my hair. My hair is kind of long. For some reason I've had like hairdressers be like, I don't know how to cut your hair. I'm like, it's literally the same. It's like not that different, but it's just like, I don't even know. But that's for washing it there and drying it there, or cutting it there and styling it however, like straightened or curly, whatever. Usually everyone straightens it. And bring your own products when you wash your hair. Like bring your shampoo and conditioner or any products you want them to use from home, or they charge you more to use their products. Another pro tip. And if you're not doing a haircut, a lot of women go and they just like get their hair styled each week, like straightened, that is way cheaper. A men's haircut is like 300 to 400 pesos. I would say like $8 for a nice barber shop, and you can do it for like $5 at a smaller place. Manicure or a pedicure for the gel, because let's be serious, don't waste your time getting just a regular manicure because it's going to chip tomorrow. That's like 600 pesos, not too bad, and a lot of times they'll do specials where you can like get a deal if you do hands and feet. A doctor's visit with insurance is like 1,000 pesos. A lot of them have that kind of upfront fee. Most of them take cash only. I had insurance there, I don't now, but I had Humano and it was pretty good. I spent 300 pesos for an eye exam with insurance. I think it was like 600 pesos without insurance. Contacts are the same price there, expensive, and contact solution is more expensive. All right, more fun stuff. Oh, I went to Exercise Metropolitan Club, and that was like 2,500 pesos per month, which is expensive, like $50. I got the most expensive plan though because it included all of the classes, and they have really good classes at that gym, like all different types, and HIIT classes and boxing and cardio and CrossFit, everything. So that's why I paid for that. For other gyms, I would say you can pay like 1,000 pesos, $20 for a normal gym without a bunch of classes. If you want a really nice gym, check out Body Shop in Santiago. I would say that and Exercise Club are the nicest, but Body Shop is like a really nice gym. They have like a hair salon in there and very fancy. I don't think it's more than 2,500. School, if you're going to school there or one of your family members, university is like $350 per month, and that is for Pucamaima, PUCMM, which is the biggest university there and pretty much the best university in Santiago and one of the best in the country. If you have kids and you want to put them in school, I would definitely recommend putting them in private school. The public schools are really, really bad. No offense. They're just, you can look up ratings and they're very low. Private schools are expensive, about $280 for a private school, but that might not be bilingual, all the way to $800 per month, not including the inscription fee, which can be like up to $2,000 or more, I think, just to like register your student. So they can definitely be expensive, but it's worth it for the better education. And if you're in Santo Domingo and maybe Punta Cana too, you'll be paying even more. You can just look up like Carol Morgan School. That's pretty much the best or one of the best in the country, and they're really expensive. Remember that you need to save up for plane tickets home to your country or wherever you're going for maybe Christmas or summer or whenever, if you want to visit once or twice a year. And plane tickets are expensive. So even when you think like, oh, I can get by on like $500 per month or less, take into account like, oh, maybe I want to visit my family or something, so I'll save a little bit more for that on the side. I would say that you need $1,500 to $2,000 US to be comfortable there and to live kind of a typical expat lifestyle. I would say that I see people spend like 5,000 US per month, or more. Some people spend 500 US per month, but I would say the average, definitely like you can be comfortable, is 1,500 to 2,000 per month. And I like to save more because, you know, one day I want to buy a house, so it has to be more. Average salary per month is about 200 US dollars, so it's really low, but I wouldn't say like, oh, I can do that too, because most people have families and don't live alone, so they have like, they can pool their resources together. Yeah, I'm just basing this off of like a comfortable expat lifestyle similar to a life that you would live in the US. I think I covered all of the basics that I kind of wrote down and was thinking about. If I forgot anything, like I said in the beginning, let me know in the comments, and like if my prices are different from what you're paying, please let me know too. Remember, I did averages for Santiago, but I would love to hear what you're paying in different parts of the country because I think that's so interesting. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all are having an amazing Christmas if I put this video up on Christmas Day. If not, I hope you had an amazing Christmas, and make sure to subscribe. I will be doing some more videos this week, and I'll see you guys soon.